Apparatuses in the laboratory are used in various activities, such as they can be used in measuring, can be used in heating, can be used in holding, and can be used in chemical reactions. So those are the various uses of apparatuses in the laboratory. Now class, today we shall be also discussing on the classification of apparatuses used in the laboratory. Apparatuses used in the laboratory, dear student, are categorized into apparatuses for measuring. Now, student, let us see these apparatuses for measuring volumes of liquids. I will start with a pipette. Class, this is a pipette. You can see it here. It's a long glass tube. It has a mark. This apparatus is used to transfer specific volumes of liquids from one container to another container. You can see it here. So it is used to transfer specific volumes of liquids from one container to another container. This measures specific volumes. Example, this one here, it is very fixed for 25 millis. 25 cubic centimeters. This is called a pipette. So, a pipette used to transfer specific volumes. Let's class see the other apparatus, which is known as a burette. This is the burette. This is the burette. You see, it has a volume of 50 cubic centimeters. This kind of apparatus is used to measure accurate volumes and dispense them. It measures accurate volumes of liquids. Why accurate volumes? You can see it is calibrated from 0 to 50. You can measure any kind of volume between 0 and 50. It is calibrated in such a way that it measures up to 2 decimal places. So from the burette you can have a volume of 10.5, a volume of 15.5, a volume of 20, a volume of 7.5, 10. So it measures accurate volumes, and it is used to dispense liquids. And this kind of apparatus, it is used in titrations. Now class, most of the students fail to differentiate between a burette and a pipette. Now, today is the end of your confusion. A pipette is fixed to certain volumes. This one here, it only measures specific volume. It transfers specific volume. This is special for 25 cubic centimeters. Therefore, this can be of different sizes. Can it be a pipette of 20? It can be a pipette of 25. It can be a pipette of 10. While this one measures accurate volumes because it has been calibrated. You can see the calibrations here, from 0 to 50. So please, you should not confuse between the two apparatuses. Also, burette can be of different sizes. You can have a burette of 25, a burette of 50 or a burette of 100. Both are made up of glass materials. Both are glass wares. Now class, this is a pipette and this is a burette. Let us see a measuring cylinder. So, burette, we said it is used to measure accurate volumes and dispense them. We also have another apparatus for measurement. It's this one here. This one is called a measuring cylinder. A measuring cylinder is also calibrated. This measuring cylinder is of 100 mils or 100 cubic centimeters. It is calibrated. You can see the calibrations here from 10 cubic centimeters to 100 cubic centimeters. This one also measures specific volumes and accurate volumes, and it is much used in the laboratory. It can be of 10 cubic centimeters, 20 cubic centimeters, 50, 100, 500, even 1,000 cubic centimeters. So they have different sizes. And this one is made up of glass, so it's a glassware apparatus. We can also have barometric flask. Dear student, this one is a barometric flask. It is a flat one, flat bottomed flask. So you can see it has a volume of 1,000 mils. This one is also used to measure precise volume of liquids, and it is also used in preparing of standard solution. So, as I said, that it is used to measure precise volume of liquids and accurate volumes, and also to measure the used in the preparation of standard solutions of different liquids. It has a stopper, you can see, and it is made up of glass, and it is transparent. It has also a mark here. So when you reach this mark, it's when you have fixed the volume of 1,000 mils. Now, dear student, let us see the other apparatus used for measurements. We have apparatus for measuring mass. The apparatuses used in measuring mass are beam balance. Can you have a beam balance? A beam balance is this apparatus here, class. You can see it. Here it's where the watch glass with chemical substances are placed. So this beam balance is used to measure masses or weights of different chemical substances in the laboratory. We also have the other apparatus used for measuring. It is known as an electronic balance or a digital balance. electronic balance. Dear students, it's this one here. You can see it. It has a display screen here, and it has a connection with the electricity. So when it is plugged in the socket, it gives out reading. This one here is much more advanced. It is used to measure accurate weights of substances. It gives the accurate weights of substances. It can measure even a small amount of weight. So it is known as an electronic balance or a digital balance. Dear student, we also have some other apparatuses used for other types of measurement, such as time. The apparatuses used in measuring time in the laboratory is known as a stopwatch. I hope that every one of you is aware of this apparatus here. This is known as a stopwatch. It is used to measure time in the laboratory. You also have some stopwatches at your home. So that is a stopwatch. We also have another apparatus for measuring temperature. The apparatus is known as a thermometer. You can see it here, it is in its case. So just open. This is a thermometer. And most of the thermometers used in the laboratory are calibrated. There are some which are calibrated from 0 centigrade to 100 centigrade, and the others are calibrated from negative 10 centigrade to 110 centigrade. And most of the thermometers found in the laboratory are made up of mercury. You can see it here. It is calibrated. It has the readings. I think you can see them, or you know it. You have seen it once in a laboratory. So this is the thermometer. It is used to measure temperatures of different chemical substances in the laboratory. Now let us see the other classification of apparatuses. This was about apparatuses for measuring. We have seen measuring volumes of liquids, pipette, burette, measuring cylinder, volumetric flask. We have seen for measuring mass, beam balance, electronic balance, apparatus for measuring time, stopwatch, and we have seen apparatus for measuring temperature, which are known as a thermometer. Now let us see some other apparatuses for heating. Dear students, let us now see the apparatus for heating. There are several apparatuses used for heating. Now let us see them. Today I've tried to come with some of them. Let us now see them. We have We have an apparatus known as a Bunsen burner. Class, this is the Bunsen burner. You can see it has a base, it has a gas inlet, and it has this chimney, it has air hose. It is used as a source of heat in the laboratory. So a Bunsen burner is used as a source of heat in the laboratory. Let us see another apparatus for heating. We have an apparatus known as a tripod stand. Tripod stand is this apparatus here. It is tripod because it has 3 supporting legs. This one, and the other one. So this is called a tripod stand. It is used to support containers during the process of heating. It is used to support containers during the process of heating. We also have another apparatus used for heating. It is called a wire gauze. Wire gauze is this apparatus here. You can see it is made up of a square wire mesh. This square wire mesh. This apparatus is placed on top of the tripod stand, and it is used to support the containers that contains chemicals to be heated, and it is also used to support heat evenly to the containers to be heated. And also this wire gauze prevents direct contact of the container with the source of heat, which is the Bunsen burner. So it prevents smoke from being direct contact with the container. This is called a wire gauze. Dear student, I want to talk on this point here, that it prevents direct contact of the container to a source of heat. This kind of apparatus prevents direct contact of the container with the source of heat, because most of the containers used in heating are made up of glass, so they are glasswares. When they are in direct contact with the source of heat, they can be pressurized and burst and break. So this one prevents direct contact of heat to the container. It also prevents smoke from the source of heat to the container. So from the source. Let us also see another apparatus for heating. It is this one here. This is called a test tube. It is used for mixing liquids, and it is also used for heating processes. And the most used these test tubes in heating, they are known as Pyrex. This is a Pyrex test tube. It can easily withstand with the high temperature. That's why they are used in the process of heating. So this is a test tube. Sometimes it's called a boiling tube. Boiling tube is somehow larger than the test tube. So it is purposely used for heating chemical substances. It contains the chemical substance to be heated. We also have boiling test tube. Let's light it. Test tube. So it is used to heat chemical substance, or it is used to, it contains chemical substances to be heated. That is the test tube, or sometimes called the boiling tube. So now class, as I said, that this test tube, it is used for heating, or heating test tubes, that it contains liquids to be heated, and it can be heated up to high temperature because it is made up of Pyrex. And this test tube here is transparent. The test tube is transparent so that you can observe some chemical reactions that are taking place. It is transparent so that one can observe the chemical reactions that are taking place. Let us now see another apparatus for heating. Crucible. We have another apparatus for heating, which is known as a crucible. It is this one here. It has a lid, and it is this small ball with its lid. This is called a crucible. It is made up of special clay known as porcelain, and it is used to heat solid chemical substances at high temperatures. This is a beaker. It can also be used for heating different chemicals within the laboratory. Beaker, it's transparent, you can see it. It is also used for heating. Now, let us see a simple setup on how these apparatuses can be used. A setup, this is the setup of you can see this is the Bunsen burner, acts as the source of heat. This is the tripod stand for supporting containers, and this is the wire gauze. It's put on top of the tripod stand, and this is the container which is pressed on top of the wire gauze, and then you put your source of heat, and the substance starts boiling. Now class, or dear students, these are some of the apparatuses that can be used for heating, and that is the demonstration of the arrangement of the apparatuses for heating. Let us now go to the other apparatuses known as apparatuses for holding. Now class, let us see the apparatus for holding. We have what is known as a retort stand. Now class, oh dear student, we have this kind of an apparatus here. This is known as a retort stand. You can see it here. This is the retort stand. It has a clamp. It has a clamp that can be adjusted to certain desirable levels. You can decide to adjust it to certain desirable levels. This apparatus here is used for holding bullet or test tubes. It is used to support bullets or to support test tubes with a clamp which can be adjusted to various heights depending on what height you want. So we have the other one which is known as a test tube block. It's this one here. It is used to store and support test tubes in an experiment. We also have another apparatus which is this one here. It is called tongs. It is used to hold hot substances during chemical reaction or during heating processes. Dear students, let us now see the apparatuses for carrying out different chemical reactions. Apparatuses used for carrying out chemical reactions. There are several apparatuses used for carrying chemical reactions. I will pass through them. We have this one here. Can see it. This one is called a gas jar. It is called a gas jar. Gas jar. Gas jar is used for collection of gases, and also it is used for carrying out some chemical reactions that involves formation of gases, such as formation of oxygen. Oxygen is always collected in a gas jar. So this is the gas jar used for collection of gases. We also have a flask. This one is called a conical flask. It is a cone shaped. You can see it here. It is used for holding chemicals during titration process. Also, a conical flask can be used in carrying out some chemical reactions. Some chemical reactions can be conducted within the conical flask. And you can see it, it has a narrow mouth and it is made up of glass. It is a glassware material. We also have this one here. This one is called a watch glass. Watch glass. It's a shallow dish. You can see it. It is used to carry chemical substance to be observed, but it is also used in evaporating some chemical substances, and it is also used to cover beakers. Watch glasses can be made up of glass or made up of plastic. This is a plastic made watch glass. This is a watch glass made up of glass material. We also have reagent. We also have reagent bottles for storing liquid chemicals. This one here is a reagent bottle. You can see this is the stopper and this is the reagent bottle. The other one is this one here. It's a reagent bottle. We also have the other one. This one is the reagent bottle used for storing chemicals. And normally these are put on a bench for conducting experiments, and they are known as bench reagent bottles. They store chemicals ready to be used. We also have wash bottle. Contain or carry distilled water. The wash bottle is this one here. This carries distilled water that is used for chemical reactions. But we also have some filter, some other apparatus such as filter paper. This one is used in filtration. It is folded into cone shaped and put into a filter funnel. You can see it here. So this is put into a filter funnel and it is used to separate solid substances from liquid substances. So it is used in filtration. We also have a brush, test tube brush. This one is for washing apparatus used in the experiments. Washing apparatuses used for experiments. We also have these one here are called goggles. they are used to protect your eyes either from spuds or spills, because some chemicals can spill, can move in a high speed, or can give out gases. So these ones protects you from your eyes being either being harmed by different gases or any other chemical. So you can put it on like this while doing your experiment. We also have goggles for protecting the eyes. Eyes from spuds or spilled liquids. We can also have a lab coat. You can see it here. This is the lab coat. You can decide, put it on. This is called a lab coat. It is used to protect you from corrosive substances to come in contact with your skin. It also protects you from spilled liquid to detain your clothes. So you put it on like this. So lab coat, for protection against corrosive substance which can burn or from dirt that can detain your clothes. But lastly, we have some gloves, hand gloves. These are worn during performing an experiment. So it is used to protect the hands from being contaminated with the harmful chemicals or toxic chemicals during an experiment. Now, class, those are some of the apparatuses used in the laboratory. We have many apparatuses used in the laboratory, but those were some of the few apparatus I decided to share with you today. And now I hope you are in a position of listing them, explaining their uses, and classifying them according to their uses, which are, we have seen, for heating, for measuring, for holding, and for carrying out chemical reactions. Now let us go and see some questions that can be asked. Now let us see some questions that can be asked from this subtopic. We have question number 1. It states that during her class practical activities in a chemistry laboratory to prepare oxygen gas, Leticia was asked by a laboratory assistant to use some glass apparatuses made up of hard glass known as Pyrex. Why did the laboratory assistant suggested this kind of glassware, Pyrex, to Leticia? That is a kind of a question that can be asked from the concept of basic chemistry apparatuses and their uses. What do you think is the answer, class? It's very simple. We have discussed it. So I think why did the laboratory assistant suggested this kind of glassware? It is because Pyrex glassware can withstand with high temperature. Let's go to question number 2. Question number 2 says that, why is it necessary to familiarize yourself with the laboratory apparatuses? Class, student, I have said a lot. about why should we be familiarized with the laboratory apparatuses. I think you can respond this on your own. Try it at your home. Let us see question number 3. Question number 3 says, you are a Form 2 student who just covered Darasa online, a subtopic known as Basic Chemistry Laboratory Apparatuses and their uses. You are given a task to advise your friend in a nearby school on the proper management of apparatuses. Suggests, while giving 2 examples in each case, the 3 classes of laboratory apparatuses basing on their uses. Class, dear student, those are the things that we have been discussing. We discussed about several classes of basic laboratory apparatuses. Now I think you are in a position of responding to that kind of a question. This is also an assignment that you should perform it at your home place. Let us see question number 4. Question number 4 says, measuring apparatuses commonly used in a laboratory can also be used at home. A. Which 3 substances are measured at home? B. What are the corresponding measuring apparatuses for the substance suggested in part A? That also has been discussed. We said there are several apparatuses that can be applied in the laboratory or used in the laboratory and used at home. Take an example of a thermometer. A thermometer is used in the laboratory, but we use thermometers at home. Now, just give the other 2 substances that can be used at home. Give 2 apparatuses that can be used at home. And there are substances to be measured. Dear students, you will have to pass on some references so as to get more knowledge on basic chemistry laboratory apparatuses and their uses. You have Chemistry for Secondary Schools, Form 1 and 2, by Oxford University Press. Go and find that book. You have the other book, which is Holderness and Lambert. You go and find it. And the other one is Lion, Chemistry for You. You go and find that kind of a book. Now, dear student, I hope that you have enjoyed a lot on this topic. The topic had some real examples of the apparatuses. Now I think you are in a position of responding on the classes of basic chemistry laboratory apparatuses. You are in a position of giving the different functions of laboratory apparatuses, and you are also able to explain the several uses of these apparatuses. Most welcome.
Kipindi cha Darasa Online kimeletwa kwenu na Chuo Kikuu cha Sauti Mbeya.